But I will tell you, as a hiring manager, I want to see an FE or an EIT on your resume when I'm interviewing and looking for new candidates.
Why are leading engineering firms looking for you to pass the FE exam? In this week's video, I'm lucky to have with me Wendy Bailey. Wendy is a structural department manager at Burns McDonnell. And Wendy's going to talk about why, when she hires engineers, it's so important that they have passed the FE exam. She's also going to use a phrase of why Burns McDonnell is so interested in finding those engineers that are on the path to licensure. This week's video is brought to you by PPI Kaplan, a leader in engineering exam prep for the FE and PE exams since 1975. PPI provides expert prep courses and study resources designed to help you pass the FE exam the first time. PPI's live online courses include hours of lectures, problem-solving demonstrations, exam strategy sessions, office hours, and a passing guarantee. When you take a live online course, PPI guarantees you will pass, or you can take the on-demand course for free. With study guides, practice exams, and more, the PPI Learning Hub offers digital practice and review that you can take with you anywhere you have a device so that you can prepare during the times most convenient for you. Check out PPI today at ppi2pass.com to see all the options available for FE exam prep. Let's dive in. All right, now I'd like to welcome our guest on to the show for today. Wendy Bailey is the Structural Department Manager at Burns McDonnell. Wendy, welcome to Pass the FE exam.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So to start us off, Wendy, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do on a daily basis at Burns McDonnell?
Sure. So I attended Missouri University of Science and Technology in 2007. I graduated with my undergrad in architectural engineering. And then in 2008, I graduated with my master's in civil engineering. But with both of those degrees, I focused on structural. From there, I did have several internships through college, but I ultimately came to Burns & Mac without an internship here. I got very lucky. I got a job offer and I accepted. And I've been here ever since. So I work in the aviation and federal group. Our main clients are Army, Navy, Air Force, Army Corps of Engineers, as well as airports and airlines. And I do a lot of design work. So we're designing facilities to support those entities, whether it's hangars or training facilities or infrastructure that they need to achieve their mission. About 5 years into my into my career, I then pursued my structural engineering license. So that, for those that don't know, that's similar to the PE, but it's a 2-day test. Each of them are 8 hours long. And that also serves as a PE for a lot of states. So I got my SE. And then knowing that some states also required a PE, I went back and took the PE exam. And so I'm a licensed SE and PE. And so with those licensures, then I'm able to lead projects, seal drawings, perform designs for our clients, and help serve their needs. And then currently in my role, I am a structural department manager. So in addition to design, I'm also managing a team of about 30. And in that role, I handle a lot of workload strategy, hiring top talent for our team, and then most importantly, really helping our team have the resources and tools that they need to support their careers so that they can achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
That's great. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to hear that you're managing or leading 30 people. That's a lot, but that's great. So just real quick on your path to licensure, tell us about your FE exam experience. Did you take it like right after school? How did that look for you?
Yeah, so in some ways I was fortunate because my degree program required it, so I had to take it. So that the expectations, you took it in your last semester. Again, I took this 18 years ago or so. It was a little bit different than the way it's organized now. Everyone took it on the same day. So we took it in a large auditorium. And I was required to take it. So that was part of my degree program.
That's great. And I'm sure a lot of engineers wish that their schools required it because sometimes they don't take it. And then you get out into the workforce, you start working in it, and it becomes very, very difficult. So for early career engineers, Wendy, how does passing the FE exam distinguish them in the hiring process, especially compared to applicants with similar educational backgrounds that haven't pursued the FE?
Yeah, so that's really the first indicator our recruiters have about your intent for your future career and where you want to go. So if you have FE or EIT on your resume, then that's a signal, hey, this person plans to get licensed in the future, or at least has the initiative to pursue that. And that's going to be their focus, which that aligns with our values at Burns McDonnell. We really want to see our employees that are engineers to be licensed so that they can own their own work. And so that's really an expectation that, and it excites us to see that on resumes.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great way to say it. They can own their own work, which is, a good way to put it. And yeah, I think it clearly gives the recruiter, hiring manager an indication that you're motivated, right? You're taking steps in the right direction in your career, and you're kind of halfway, if you will, to getting that license, which is, of course, a big boost. And the one thing that's nice just about a licensed profession in general is that if you get the license, you certainly differentiate yourself from all those others who do not. And
Absolutely.
that's just the fact of a licensed profession. So beyond technical knowledge, Wendy, are there specific soft skills or attributes that passing the FE exam might indicate for potential engineers at your firm?
Yeah, so I think, at first glance, it's a very technical exam. So people don't realize it. But just the fact that you're taking that exam, you're showing how you absorbed all this knowledge over the course of your degree program, you're taking all that in, and then you're able to pass that exam. That's just one step of just showing how you can absorb that knowledge and use that in the future. It also shows initiative that you're willing to pursue more education, pursue more testing. As an engineer, you're a lifelong learner. So you're always going to be reaching out, investigating new technologies, reading up on journals, sitting in lunch and learns, learning about new things. And this is kind of that first step of that pursuit of more education.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if someone's willing to tackle an exam of this magnitude with all the preparation that's required, it probably bodes pretty well in their career when they're dealing with engineering projects and other challenges that they're going to have to deal with along the way. So that's definitely a positive.
Yeah.
So, Wendy, are there specific roles or project types at Burns and McDonnell where FE certification is maybe particularly advantageous or even required?
Yes, definitely. So all of our engineers at Burns McDonnell, we ultimately expect them to get professional licensure. And again, the FE is really the first step to that. But some companies might have a few principals, and then everyone works under their direct supervision. They don't necessarily need to be licensed. But again, as I mentioned earlier, and you elaborated on, we really want our team members to own their work. We're 100% employee owned here. And part of that is we want to empower you to be entrepreneurs and run your own projects and make those decisions with your clients. And if you want to be able to do that, you need to be able to professionally license. And again, the FE is the way to get there, is by taking that right at the beginning.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I think that sometimes engineers forget this, that once you have your license, you do have that ability to sign and seal drawings. And of course, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. But nonetheless, you have the ability to do it and to own it, as Wendy's suggesting. And that's a big deal, especially over the life of your career, thinking about all the projects you can work on and have an impact on. And all that starts with getting the FE and then getting, of course, your PE or your SE, like Wendy has done here. So, Wendy, how does Burns and McDonnell support employees who are preparing for or seeking to take the FE exam?
So Burns McDonnell does offer tuition assistance program, and we also give resources out to support job-related courses and certifications. But I will tell you, as a hiring manager, I want to see an FE or an EIT on your resume when I'm interviewing and looking for new candidates. Not to say that that's true for every case. There's cases where that hasn't made sense. Life happens. I get it. But ultimately, I really want to hire people that already have their FE or they're listed as an EIT on their resume.
And that's great that Burns and McDonnell supports them in taking the exam. I think that support is always a big plus. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, the world we live in, the infrastructure world, is busy right now. And if you apply to a job, you're not going to be the only person applying, most likely. So if someone's looking at a lot of resumes and they need to try to somehow weed them out, they can't interview everybody. Certainly things like the FE or having the EIT on your resume could get you onto a shorter list potentially.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. I mean, someone doesn't have time to weed through 100 resumes, so they're going to try to whittle it down the best they can. And they could certainly start with things like certifications, degrees, etc. And that's one of the reasons that it's such a boost in the hiring process.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from your perspective, as a hiring manager, I know we talk a lot about the PE and you hear about the PE license and the PE exam, but how does the FE exam contribute to the overall success of projects and team dynamics at Burns and McDonnell?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what we've talked about, and the fact that if you pass the FE, you've already shown that you have this drive and this passion to pursue engineering. You want to be be a consultant and support the team and develop drawings and work and solve problems for clients. So having that drive just shows that you take initiative, that you're going to have an ownership in your team, and that's the team that we want to be working with. So again, as I mentioned, we're 100% employee owned, and part of that is we expect a lot out of our employees, and we expect a lot out of ourselves. Because if I'm successful and my employees around me are successful, we're all very successful. And so having that drive and that initiative and wanting to make the team better is just so important. And this is just one of those indicators of how you're going to benefit our team when you join us.
Yeah, and I'm glad you've talked about that quite a bit because I think sometimes younger students or engineers can get talked out of pursuing the license for various reasons. Like I've heard, I'm going into the construction field, I don't need it, or I'm doing this kind of engineering and I'm not going to use it. But the bottom line is that number one, it does show that differentiation on your resume, just about your motivation, your intentions, your goal focused, etc. So that's a big plus regardless. And secondly, like you don't know where you're going to go in your career. Just because you're doing one type of engineering now doesn't mean you're going to be doing that forever. And certainly you don't want to make a decision now that's going to maybe hinder you or, keep you at a certain level in your career or create a roadblock for yourself in the future. So, you're young, you have the ability to go for the FE, stuff is relatively fresh in your mind. There's just so many benefits to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Wendy, have you observed any trends in the career trajectories of engineers who do take and pass the FE exam early on compared to those who haven't?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of spoke on it just now, but it is something I've observed, and I guess there's no data I haven't looked up the data on this, but I've observed that it's a lot harder to pass it if you wait longer to take it. So, the test covers what you learned in your undergraduate program, and some of that stuff you learned early on. So the farther you get away from those courses, it's just harder to dig deep into your memory and bring all that back as quickly. So I definitely think it's important to take it when you can, in that last year of your undergraduate program, if possible, because I have seen people that have been 4 or 8 years out and they've struggled to pass it just because it's a much harder test for them at that point. And then, as you mentioned, yeah, that slows their ability to grow because they aren't able to get licensed, they aren't able to be promoted in some areas because that requires licensure to be promoted to certain levels, and that just hinders them at that point.
Yeah, and I think that this is such an important point because what happens is your senior year in college, I know there's a million things going on. You're graduating, you have final exams, right? You're saying goodbye to your friends for who knows how long or whatever the case may be. And then you have this FE exam. And it's not an easy exam, just being honest. I mean, we don't want to sugarcoat anything here. There's a lot of different materials on it. And it's not just if you're doing civil engineering, you're not just going to see civil engineering, you're going to see other things on the exam as well. So it's relatively broad. So it is tricky. But what I would say is that I've talked to many engineers that didn't spend the time to get it, whether they didn't pass the exam because they didn't give it the attention or they just decided they'll take it later. And they've never gotten back to it because, you have a family, you have a job, things start to get busier in life. And now they have that roadblock in their career that they just can't get over because they can't get past that first exam. So no matter how hard it is for you, you got to try to roll your sleeves up and take the exam and pass it as early as you can in your career. I mean, Wendy's obviously just given us about 10, 15 reasons to do it. She's seeing it on a daily basis at Burns McDonnell, one of the premier companies in the country. They're looking for that. So it's a really, really important step. So Wendy, before I let you go, is there any final piece of advice that you'd like to share with our viewers here about taking the FE exam?
Yeah, no, I'd say definitely take it when you can. Take it in that last year of your school coursework if you can. But also, it's an exciting time. Like, this is your first step into professional engineering. So it's a serious test, but it's a big deal. After you take this test, you're in engineering training. Once you pass it, you're making decisions or helping on projects that are impacting society. You're making a big impact on the world. And so it's a big deal, and I think it's an exciting time. So definitely take it and be proud of your results.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, it is an exciting time. You're launching your career, and this is going to help you launch it in the right direction, passing the FE exam. And I actually interviewed a CEO of a big engineering company earlier in the week, and he gave me an interesting quote, which I think relates to the situation. He said, when all else doesn't work, work works. And what I mean by that is, taking the exam is hard. You got finals, but you just have to find a way senior year to show up every day, even if you study for a half an hour a day. Be consistent, be committed, know that you're putting yourself on an amazing path if you get through this exam, and just kind of keep showing up and keep doing the work, and you'll be successful. So with that, I just want to say thank you to Wendy Bailey. Wendy, again, is a structural department manager at Burns McDonnell. Wendy, thank you for spending some time with us today on Pass the FE exam.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Wendy. It's great to hear how leading firms are putting so much emphasis on the PE licensure process, because it is such an important process in your career. Please subscribe to our channel here. We put out videos like this on a weekly basis to help you pass the FE exam. And if you have any specific questions about the exam, leave them in the comments below and we will respond to them in a future video. I'll see you next week on Pass the FE exam.